Carolina Insider is presented by Wells Fargo, official sponsor of Carolina Athletics.
Thanks for being here on the Carolina Insider. We've talked a bunch of men's basketball. The guys now winners of 3 straight and 9 of their last 11. The women are playing really well as well. We're going to show you some highlights of some recent victories coming up in just a little bit. But before that, Adam Lucas and I had a chance to catch up with one of the stars of the women's team, Deja Kelly. Deja with a particularly big game in the win over Duke here recently. Let's get back to some of that conversation with Deja Kelly.
Deja, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me here.
Now, you've got experience in this studio. You know what's going on here. Tell us a little bit about your background with this type of stuff.
Yeah, so I am majoring in broadcast journalism. That's kind of been a dream of mine for a few years now. But I just made a lot of connections, just throughout basketball. They brought a lot of those opportunities. But, just meeting people in the industry and, just watching on TV, watching post-game, pre-game interviews, sidelines, commentators. I haven't exactly decided which field I want to go as far as, whether it's sideline, commentating, analysts. But, yeah, that's something I'm pretty interested in. I love the camera. I love being in front of the camera. So hopefully I'll take y'all's jobs pretty soon.
Oh, well, that's not true. That's not going to be tough. It's not going to be hard. What do you like about it? Like, what interests you about it?
I think just being able to, talk sports. I've grown up around sports, basketball, obviously, but just, watching, how these reporters and analysts are able to break down, basketball,
sure,
football, and I'm going to expand to different sports, but just being able to talk about something that really interests me and something that I really like doing, kind of that I already do now. I'm a coach's kid, so I'm already pretty analytical when it comes to sports. So I think that's just something that I've grown to like, and like I said, I like being in front of the camera. So I feel like it goes together.
Now, you're one of the few that's been on both sides of an interview. You have been interviewed and you have done the interview. Yes. So what makes a good interview?
Got questions like that. That's
yeah, see, exactly, questions like that where you have to sit there and think. I think just, how an interviewer being able to ask questions that, one, haven't been asked before, and just really trying to get deeper into who they're interviewing and really just kind of, I think from good interviews that I've watched, really getting them to kind of come out of their shell and be emotional and kind of tell you a little bit more than what they've told maybe said in other interviews. I think that kind of makes it special. So I'm trying to learn how to do that instead of just asking more of like the broad, general questions, just trying to get, deeper into what I want to know.
So we're going to have Deja's going to be crying by the end of this interview. That's what she said. We will have done our job. No, let's talk a little basketball. You guys are playing really well. Had the stretch right there around the holidays where I know things didn't go as well as you guys wanted. What in your mind has been important these last 3 or 4 games for some improved play?
Yeah, I think, just as a team, we kind of talked about, just really buying into our own roles individually and then, bringing that together collectively. I think that's something that we were kind of lacking in that losing streak that we had. It was we were kind of just out there, and it wasn't really, everyone was really locked into what you had to do, what you had to bring every game, every practice in order for all of us to be successful. So we had a team meeting, and we kind of talked about it, and we all talked about what our roles are, and everyone has a pretty good idea. So it was just like, all right, now there has to be a shift in everyone's mentality as to what you're going to do individually to help the team win, whether it's in practice every day, in games, and then I think we'll see all of the dominoes fall, into place. So I think that's kind of what's been happening for us these past few games, and it's showing.
Are those difficult conversations to have?
They are. They're difficult for me. Just being one of the leaders, I think it's difficult because it's always hard being put in that position just because you have friends on the team and you don't want to overstep, but it's like sure, you also are trying to get their best. So I think you kind of have to put that aside, and I think we all did in those team meetings, and we just got really vulnerable with each other, and we're like what we need from each other, what we expect from each other, what our goals are as a group, and just really connecting in that way and really figuring out what the end goal is here and what we all want together. And are we all willing to, go the extra mile, do the extra work to get there and to help each other get there? And if that's the case, then we all need to lock in. There's really no going back from there.
Carolina in the game against State this past weekend, sold out crowd in Carmichael. You could almost feel the energy through the TV screen watching at home. What does that do for you guys? Those crowds have been getting bigger and bigger here the last several years, but to have a crowd like that, what does that do for you?
Yeah, it means so much because it's like, especially my group, my junior class, it's like we're looking at that and we're like, this is what we built. Like, this is ours. Like, we built this from the year we got here. And I think that's why it's a little more special, just because, you know, I think Carolina women's basketball had a bit of a drop-off. So when we got here, that was all of our goal, was to bring it back to the national map and just get us back to, you know, the championship talk and ACC title talk and things like that. So I think that we're doing that, and just seeing the crowd grow more and more each game and supporting us. To have our first sellout, I think, was like very memorable and something we'll never forget. But, you know, just knowing that that's something that we planned on doing when we got here, and now we're seeing it all being built and all forming into what we kind of want it to be, it just makes it even more special.
Carolina Insider is presented by Wells Fargo, official sponsor of Carolina Athletics.
Wrapping things up here on the Carolina Insider, let's see some women's basketball highlights. The Tar Heels had gotten all the way up to number 7 in the nation earlier in the year, then hit a bit of a speed bump, lost 4 in a row, but man, they have really recovered. Some huge wins over highly ranked teams here as of late, including Notre Dame, NC State, and Duke. Those wins over the Pack and the Devils have come within the last week. We wanted to show you some of those highlights of those victories.
She's the engine for this program.
Dave Wilson goes out to Jesus, comes in, and a nice play for Anya Poole. So 5 turnovers, pardon me, for Duke, and no points. Nice. Usby finding Poole. She has scored the last 8 points for Duke. Kelly. Speaking of needing to get going, 0 for 6 from the floor in the first half. So she goes coast to coast. Shot clock winding down. Todd Williams elevates. Got it! Shot clock again winding down. Paris, the freshman, top shot, and it goes in. Brown didn't even look to shoot, and look who did it. Usby. All the way. Kelly, that's nice. Usby had a terrific third quarter with 12 points. Gives it up, and the bucket. Kelly, Usby, Todd Williams.
Yeah, they don't need a foul now. They need to play this out and get a stop.
Kelly, all the way to the bucket and gets it. And the Blue Devils go down for only the second time this season, and they are no longer unbeaten in the ACC.
Usby with another rebound. Back out for Hodgson. Yes!
You got to have a short memory, was right. If you put in the reps, then you can't lose your confidence.
On target. Here's Kelly in the open floor. Hodgson with a long one. Got it! The triple on target. Great move on the baseline. How about the scoop shot by Kennedy Todd Williams? What a play.
That is a big-time move. Look at the spacing by the Tar Heels.
They find Paris. Yes. And a sweet 3. Wants to make a move. Kelly on the drive. Pull-up pop. Got it. The final shot of the first half. And one of the great players in college basketball, Deja Kelly, absolutely drained it.
I think people sometimes forget Diamond, as a freshman, as Hodgkins hits her 3rd triple.
And a fight to the rebound. Adams came away with it. Really battling underneath. Todd Williams got it from 3-point land in the 4th.
But she can match up with River Baldwin. There's a steal.
Todd Williams draws a foul, lays it up and in. Shot clock to 5. Here's Adams again. She hit one. The North Carolina wins it 56-47 here this afternoon at Carmichael.
That'll do it for us here on the Carolina Insider. We're back next week. A little bit of a slower week for men's basketball, just one game. It's a tough one. They're on the road at Syracuse Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. We'll have highlights of that, but then the Heels off next weekend. We'll have highlights of that game against the Orange and more next week on the Carolina Insider.
Carolina Insider is presented by Wells Fargo, official sponsor of Carolina Athletics. Visit your Carolina Ford dealer, proud partner of Carolina Athletics. The 2022 Ford F-150, a tradition of excellence. Visit your Carolina Ford dealer today. Carolina Insider is produced by Go Heels Productions for Tar Heel Sports Properties, a property of Learfield.